well, we were part of a certain group of pioneering shows that were exploring different ways of doing the medium. And it's great to kind of watch TV now and feel like, well, I was part of the generation that moved television to where it is now.
Hi, this is Tara Bennett, contributing editor for Sci-Fi WIRE, and we have the great brain behind Battlestar Galactica, Outlander. Of course, you worked on Star Trek, Ron Moore. Thank you so much for being with us, Ron.
Absolutely, good to see you.
So we've got here at the ATX Festival a reunion for Battlestar Galactica. One, does it feel very strange that you're saying 14 years from the miniseries? Does that, in a weird way, does it feel like it's been 14 years, or does it feel like it's, you just finished it? Where is it in your own mind kind of rest in terms of where you left it?
It does feel like a long time ago. It's kind of surprising, it's hard to reconnect with where I was in my life and where I was in my career when we set out to do the miniseries. And yet it is easy to touch it. It's like when we start talking about the show or seeing people, it's really easy to bring all that back kind of quickly.
When you guys were making it, it was getting such critical acclaim. Did you kind of think that it was going to endure as strongly as it is, or has it been nice to see that people are still finding it in streaming and you've got a new fandom that keeps coming and growing the appreciation for it?
I think we had a fundamental belief in what we were doing, and we were sort of, at the time, the ratings were so-so at certain seasons, and it wasn't always guaranteed that we were going to get picked up for the next year, but we just had this innate belief that even if they don't love us now, they're going to love us later. This show is going to last. We're doing something really good, and we just kept the fire alive through the whole thing. So it's gratifying to see that that's all actually turned out that way.
When you look at it and what it kind of really laid the groundwork for with other shows that came after it, what are you most proud of? I mean, you had really strong female characters, flawed, human, but incredibly strong agency, lots of different age ranges. You had really smart stories about religion and politics, with the metaphor of space. When you look back on it, do you go, I'm really glad that our show came and now I see some of those same kind of themes, or people brave enough to go into those areas on other shows today?
I feel like we were part of a wave of TV that came out around that time and that was changing how television was done. We were inspired by what was happening on Sopranos, and we took a lot of our cues from there about how you could have characters that weren't so good and that did terrible things, sometimes for terrible reasons, and yet the audience would still identify with them. More serialized programming was becoming a bigger thing at that point. We were really wanting to push the envelope on that. So I kind of felt like, well, we were part of a certain group of pioneering shows that were exploring different ways of doing the medium. And it's great to kind of watch TV now and feel like, well, I was part of the generation that moved television to where it is now.
I wanted to ask towards, the ending of the show was controversial, but, I think a great ending that has people talking is really what you want. And now that we've had distance from it, do people get it more? Have you found people have come up to you and embrace it more, or are you happy that, people have a chance to kind of rest with it and understand what you were doing with that, last kind of reveal at the end of the show? Yeah,
I mean, I do get a lot of people that just come up and, unbidden, just sort of tell me how much they like the finale, which is really nice to hear. To me, the finale was what I thought the end of the story was, and I'm still sort of proud of it and feel like, yeah, that was the right ending for everything we did. But it's also kind of fun that people still want to argue about it years later, that they're still engaged enough in the show and in the characters that it's worth passionate arguments about whether that was the right end or not.
So then the question would be, obviously they want to redevelop Battlestar for a movie. That's, been talked about. But you've got all of these revivals of shows now. There's this whole other life because of streaming services and places that want to be a place to kind of have an event. Would you ever think that you would want to see the story of continued with the characters once they've landed, and not so much from the tag, in the future, but that those stories are worth addressing, or that you like the way it ended and you hope that, your version of Battlestar just kind of remains what it is?
I've thought about it now and again. Are there stories to tell with them on Earth? And the answer is yes. There would be interesting character stories to tell. What happened to Tyrrell up in Scotland, and what did Dama do after he buried Laura and built the cabin, and do they meet up with each other or whatnot? But it doesn't feel like that's Battlestar Galactica anymore. It's really it's a different show or a different book or something that would just explore their lives. So I don't really see that there's a future in that. I mean, the idea of rebooting it again, you know, good luck. You know, I think we set a kind of high bar, so you know, go with God. You know, it's we rebooted the original, so it's certainly not like you can say, hey, it's blasphemy to do that. But you know, I think it's a tall order to replace that cast and to do it again. So, but you know, you never know.